Hey, my friends. Now, when I'm doing this video today, I'm going to tell you a few things that's going on that you can't see. And that is that the lights are off in the house. And so everything is pitch black. And the only light we have is from this camera. So I just wanted to tell you that. So this is the first time that I've tried to do this way. And so I'm not sure if it's going to be good or bad. You let me know. Also, I have the windows open, and you can hear the crickets and the frogs and other little insects out there. You might even hear some cattle and maybe horses. Probably not, though. I'm not sure how sensitive this microphone is, but even though I can hear it very clearly right now, doesn't mean that it's going to probably transfer over to this video very well. But anyways, I just wanted to tell you what's going on. Now, in this particular episode, I just wanted to talk about this bag. And this is the Maxpedition Falcon 2. I think I've had this for roughly 8 years. It could be 9, but about 8 years at least. And it's a pretty interesting bag. It's made of pretty high quality materials, YKK zippers, and it uses like 1050 denier ballistic nylon. So the material is it's kind of borderline stiff. It's kind of rigid. It's kind of nice. But it's super heavy duty though, and in fact it's so heavy duty it's probably quite a bit overkill for the average person and their needs. Now in terms of the buckles, they're kind of designed to be quiet in use. So you can hear right there, very quiet opening. Now in terms of actually putting this, see these are the UTX, I think they're called like some kind of flex buckles. And so even when you close them, they're not that loud compared to a lot of other buckles on the market. So they're very cool. And I think these are made of some kind of special nylon, if I'm correct on that. I think that's true. It's a special nylon. And they also are very resilient in really hot temperature. So it takes a lot to melt them. And also it takes a lot for the code to crack these. On cheap buckles, the code is a really big issue. And you can crack buckles real easily, but I can tell you, I've had this in the car, and I can tell you it's probably well over 150 degrees, no problem. I've had this in the vehicle as well when it got down to negative 33, and no problem. In terms of the actual size, this is 23 liters, which is about 1,400 cubic inches. So it's a rather small pack, especially for the weight, which is like 3.2 pounds. It's a bit heavy for the size, But once again, when you have all this very durable material, you just have a lot more weight. Typically for 23 liters, I would want a pack under 2 pounds. But you kind of have a trade-off here. You have all this awesome material, and you have all these compartments and capability, so it's kind of like not an issue, and even of course in the big picture of things, 3.2 pounds isn't the worst thing out there you can possibly get. Now a few years ago they came out with the Falcon 3, which is kind of like the larger brother of this Falcon 2, and so I don't have those stats in front of me, but it's roughly about 10 liters larger than this. In fact, it's just a little under 10 liters if my memory is serving me correctly. And I think it's like closer to 9. But it's basically the Falcon 3 is just dimensionally just a little larger in each direction. Let me just pull back a little bit here and kind of just show you. I'm just sitting here on this bed and try and do this review so that it's just a little bit of a different type of review. And it's kind of fun. I'm trying to get into a habit now of trying to do a little bit some things differently on a regular basis, so that things are kind of fun and just things are not the same. Now this bag here is not loaded down very much. It's maybe at most about halfway filled, and I'm so close to this bag, it's a little hard probably for you to see. But anyways, we'll just kind of go through this. Now, this bag right now is just being used. It's kind of like the bare essential kind of like the core loadout for a bug out bag or a get home bag, but it's more of an overflow bag. Like I'm not actually using this currently for a certain purpose, but if I'm going on a longer trip and I want to have something to kind of give me more redundancy than my bug out bag or get home bag that I bring with me, this is something I can throw in there as well, you know, or if I just kind of want to have extra stuff with me for whatever reason. Maybe I'm going out, you know, like camping or something, and there's always that possibility that someone is going to be forgetful and they'll forget to bring their bag, you know, and if all we're doing is an overnight situation, this could be okay for that in some applications. Of course, depending on where I go and stuff, I'll add things to this and before I leave. So for example, there's really 3 things going on here that I would definitely add before I take this out of the house. Number 1, I fill up the water bottle inside. Number 2, I just decide what food is the most appropriate to put in here and how much. And lastly, I have the map pouch in here, I'll show you, but I don't have any maps, and my compass is taken out for the reason of it just depends on where I'm going. And then once I, you know, gather my maps, and then I'll just put the compass with it and put it in the map pouch, and that's it. So those are the main 3 things I'm going to be doing, and I have done when I've used this kind of like as a auxiliary bag for gear. So without further ado, we just unbuckle this, and as you can kind of see, this is kind of like one pouch here. It's a pretty good size pouch, and these zippers are awesome. I do believe that these are like number 10. Let me just look right real quick here. Okay, so like this zipper here is a number 8 zipper, number 8 YKK, and I think these main ones here, yeah, these here on the side to the even the larger compartments are like number 10 YKK. So in this pouch here, this front pouch, kind of like the administrative or the admin pouch, some people call it. I have it very simply loaded out right now. Once again, I'll add things to this pack if I need more things. But once again, this is just something that I have kind of in reserve, and it's ready to be put into, you know, use. So down below here, I have this kind of like a water and wind poncho. And it's a very, very compact and kind of small, but, you know, you can take it out, and it's just like I believe it's just nylon, and it's in this self-contained bag. So it actually has a pocket, you know, in the poncho that you can actually just fold the poncho into its own pocket. It's very cool. I've had this for a while, and this is an Old Navy. I'm not even sure if they even make this. I haven't seen it, you know, in many years. So I don't think they do make these, but if they do, let me know. I would like to get some more of these. They're awesome. In this pocket right here, I typically keep maybe like, because I already have one in here, but maybe like a second multi-tool or maybe like a folding blade. So I just have that open here. So just in case if I, you know, want to pick something, I can just, you know, be more precise. Oh, it has a key keeper here, and no keys here, but I do have this small light. I have this tool here. It's actually has different bits, you know, mainly just like a flathead of 2 different sizes and 2 different Phillips. So it's kind of like one of those mechanics pins, but they're actually like, you know, a screwdriver or a driver set. I have this gel pen here, and sometimes I put my tactical pin there. And in this pocket here, I have some trauma shears. You can see it kind of peeking up there. A heavy-duty garbage bag and a notepad, just a standard like 3x5 notepad. And on that notepad, I have some Gorilla taped wrapped around, because the front cover of the notepad there is actually plastic. So you can kind of use that plastic cover to actually just wrap, you know, tape on there, and it's easy to peel off. So now we're done with this front pouch. Let's go ahead and go one up to this pouch that's above. It's not a very large pouch. Let me get a better side angle, and you can kind of see compared to my fingers here. It's not like a large pouch, but you know, it's not like really small. So I have some of these safety glow sticks in here, and I also have this Rayovac headlamp that has a really long run time. I don't have all the specs in front of me, but it's really decent. And I also have some mechanics gloves behind these glow sticks. And I do believe that's pretty much what I have in here, yeah. And there's obviously quite a bit more room in this particular pouch. But I do believe on keeping a little bit of space open in pretty much all the different areas in this bag. Because once again, I like to have the option to kind of put additional gear throughout this bag when I do need to deploy it. Before we go any further and take a look on the inside, I just want to talk a little more about the outside. As you can see, there's a lot of MOLLE everywhere. These MOLLE straps on the front and on the side. And there has been times in the past that I've put pouches and just, put carabiners and all kinds of things. Just basically had this kind of plastered. Even put, patches and name tags and all this stuff. But I've kind of learned over time that it's a lot better to be streamlined as much as possible. You have the lower chance of losing gear when you don't have things that can get snagged or pulled or, or ripped off your pack. And so if you don't have the need to do it, then don't do it. Like if you have specific reasons that you need a pouch right here with a multi-tool, then obviously put that right there. But if you can kind of make it work without it being there and you can put the item inside, then that's probably going to be better in most situations. I do want to point out that, you can see this kind of like a debris here, this kind of adhesive, and that's from using Gorilla tape in the past years to kind of bind up some of this excess, type of webbing. As you can see, there's all this extra webbing all over the place. And I just got to the point that I found myself adjusting or needing to adjust these, I guess you call these points of compression, and these compression straps were constantly being manipulated, that I was taking the tape off and then changing the adjustments and then putting the tape back on. And I've just gotten now to the point that I just keep the tape off. And even though there's a lot of stuff hanging around, if I get to a situation that I'm like really settled in with my pack and I think I'm going to keep it like that or the configuration the same way for a while, I can always take these leftover, I guess, portions that are kind of just hanging and feed it through the MOLLE a few times, and you can kind of situate all that webbing there. And of course, there's a lot of other ways you can do it too. Over time, I've also used like Ranger bands and various types of rubber bands, and just so forth. So you can just be creative that way. Now on the straps, you can see that it's pretty simple. I mean, it's kind of like this, webbing here. I guess you call this a type of daisy chain, and it has these D rings, and it has this portion here and here. It's not elastic, but it's just kind of made that you could probably definitely clip something to it or tie something to it, or it does have some elastic right here. There's a strip here that would be great for your water hydration. There's one over here as well, the actual line for your hydration bladder if you choose to use that. You could also stick some other things in there. That's up to you, but for the most part, I try to keep this real simple as well. There has been times that I've actually attached pouches, but you kind of want to be careful not to go too large with the pouch. But there's times that I've actually had like a small CPR mask pouch that I used here, and had some medical stuff in there, and then another pouch over here that had basically like a headlamp, and a whistle. And that's kind of what I did for a while. But once again, I'm at the point now that I'm like, okay, let's just kind of keep it simple. And this is the backing of the backpack. There's not what you would call like a lot of special cushioning or foam or nothing. I think that's more on the inside, but it's just kind of simple, Once again, this is a pack that it's just kind of like they call it, an assault pack. It's not like some kind of technical pack or a hiking pack at all. It's just kind of like a more tactical oriented pack. It does have these grommets in case you get any kind of water spilt in there, or you get some built up moisture or fluids that need to, to kind of escape. And on the bottom here, it's just kind of like it has some more straps. I put this piece of Gorilla Tape on there just because I had this extra piece that I cut off the roll, and I had this piece, and I was like, I'll just put it down there. But there's no damage at all to this pack. That's just there. I guess it just kind of helps the longevity. I might even just put some more strips of that and then just fill the whole bottom with tape. Maybe not. I've thought about it just to kind of make it more resilient. But this bottom material is not even showing almost anywhere after all these years. So I don't even know what that's made of, but it's pretty much bulletproof. The waist strap is something that I took off. And I don't even know where that is, but it's just a real simple piece of like webbing, and I just, have no use for it. I'm a very tall guy, and when I was trying to use the waist bell, if you will, it was like, it's like above my belly button, if you will. I mean, it was kind of like ridiculous. So it was not comfortable. So I was like, you know what? A pack this small, 23 liters, it doesn't really need it. Because, I mean, it does have this sternum strap. Let me see if I can't find it. Oh, here it is. And so here's the sternum strap. So if you need it, something to kind of lock in, if you have to run or move fast and you're afraid that this is going to just be moving too much, which it doesn't really, but you can just use the sternum strap and kind of lock it on your body. So let's go ahead and take a look on the inside. So first we take these compression straps and unbuckle them. I'm doing the other side as well. And we have, at least the way that I set it up, I keep the zippers on the same side so I can kind of just feel, and especially if it's dark out. And I'm going to just open this up. Now this middle pouch, if you will, doesn't go all the way down. It doesn't clamshell. So if you can see, there's like this much that it doesn't go down. So there's a little bit of like of a pocket toward the bottom here, if you will, this pack. And also, before I forget, it does have this yoke on the outside that kind of clips to keep all this secure, and also has this this bit of material that actually has a snap, so that if you want to like put your hat or hang a cup, or maybe you have a solar panel, and when you're out hiking, you want to charge a device, when you have your panel out, you can attach it here. So it's pretty cool. With this particular pouch here, though, and in the middle, it's basically like not very big, but it is big enough, especially when this thing because this is kind of more of an accordion style assault pack. It kind of gets bigger. You can kind of just pull it out. It's just kind of strange. Right now, as you see it though, it's kind of compressed. But in this middle part here, I have a boonie hat. This is actually a real U.S. military issued boonie hat. And I have a shamag. And I think that's about in there. That's all I have in there. Sometimes I do add maybe a change of clothing, and I can barely get that in this particular section, but it is possible. Here I have this this little kit, and I've used my Star Wars Yoda tin. No, it's funny, but it's a fire and signal kit. So I do have 2 different fire starters in there, a bunch of tinder. Basically, I have like the smallest signal mirror that you can pretty much get commercially, which is, I think it's like 2 inch by 1.5 inch, and it's awesome. It does work really good. And then I have this, like, I made this one myself. This is like a little, wristband. I guess you can call it like a survival wristband, whatever. But that's there. And then also down in here, I have another, chem light, or people call it glow sticks, whatever. And then down here, I have all kind of batteries, just a bunch of batteries. And just keep it real simple, and just have some double and AAA batteries, and that pretty much will do it for the most part, for most people, and for most of my devices that are outside of like the rechargeable lithium ones. So let's go ahead and get into the main compartment. And this compartment actually does open up quite a bit in terms of not just, how far the zippers go down, because they do go down all the way. So it does clamshell. But it also, once again, this pack kind of is an accordion style, so it kind of has the ability to kind of unfold a bit. And so you can kind of see how it kind of does that. And let me just kind of get a better angle here as I open this up and clamshell it out. Boom. Okay. So right here in this front part, there's this kind of like a mesh pocket. It's like a slip pocket, and you can see that inside there I have my my map pouch. And of course, once again, I've taken that map out of my local area, and I kept it with my other maps. So whenever I need to put maps in here, I can just grab the specific one that I need, or multiples, and put that with my compass, and I'm ready to go. Now, into the main portion of the large organizer here section, this is what I have. Of course, this changes, from time to time. But up here, you have the this kind of like a webbing loop, and I'm just using this particular carabiner that has a bit or a hank, if you will. I think they call them hanks of paracord, and that works really well. Inside this particular pocket here, there's like a kind of like a mesh pocket. It's pretty durable though. You would think that stuff would rip and stuff over years, but it doesn't. There's another chem light. You can probably see a theme there. I have some medical supplies, basically a big gauze pad. I have some of these awesome, these are kind of like storm matches. And I have a lighter. And what else do I have in there? Oh yeah, some of those Espit fire tablets or tabs. And so that's good. I have this Berkey Sport filter. As you can see, well, let me see if you can see in there. It may be very difficult. But this is the one that has that big filter that's built in. It has an inline filter. It's awesome. And also I have my Mora Eldris right here. And then I call this a hand sanitizer grenade. I don't know. You can call it whatever. But basically, it's just like a hand sanitizer container. It's a pretty good size one, too. This is like one step up than like the travel size. And I just kind of used like some different types of paracord. The one in the middle here that's kind of like the Coyote, that's US spec 550 type 3. And then this kind of like foliage is kind of like more of a lighter duty paracord. And this is actually like polyester versus the real stuff is nylon. So I just happen to have different types, over the years that I've accumulated. So I like that color, and so I just kind of put them together. Here is a Leatherman, and also I have some binoculars there. I think they're like, the binoculars are like, I think they're 8 by 25 or 10 by 25. It's one of the two, but they do pretty well. And it's just a generic brand. There's nothing special with those. I'm not very wealthy at all, so I just kind of make do with what I have or what I can afford. And inside here, I have some Type 1. In fact, this is like a little pouch where there's like 2 pockets in this pouch. The front portion here, I'll just try to open this with one hand here. It is my Type 1 paracord. And so it's kind of like the miniature version of this Type 3 paracord. It's very cool. And this is like this gray with black tracer threads. And I don't know how much is in there, but that's the rest of the spool that I had. So I just took it off the spool and just kind of folded it real nice and neat in there. And so that's called Type 1. It has like a 90-pound test weight or weight type of strength. And it's also known as like accessory cord or shock type of safety cord, stuff like that. There's a bunch of names. I'm not sure which one's the most proper name, but some people even call it, like in special forces, like I think they call it equipment. Let me see here. Hold on. Okay, I just remembered. Sensitive equipment cordage. I've heard that before. Various people in the military, special forces in particular, they call it that. So there must be like a ton of different names and probably even acronyms out there. In this larger portion, I just have another lighter, some candles, some matches, and I have like one of those really small kind of backup USB charging cords, you know, like for various devices. Because I do have some radios that use or can be charged by USB, and also, of course, my phone, and I'll have two-way radios as well. So not just, you know, some AM, FM, and shortwave radios that I have that can use also that. Oh yeah, also an emergency weather radio I have that also uses USB. So anyways, there's some things and options there. Oh yeah, and I also have flashlights that can be charged. I forget about these things. Lots of things with USB, and you know, micro USB is what I'm talking about specifically. But yeah, that's what's inside this main compartment here. And so as you can see, there's like probably more than, you know, double of what I can get in here. So this is just kind of a very minimal loadout for this bag. So, you know, I can put like a tarp and maybe like some more clothes, maybe a jacket up here and stuff like that. So once again, I keep a lot of extra space just in case, you know, I want to put things in here for specific reasons. There is one more compartment I want to show you on the back side, and that's obviously the hydration bladder. That can also double as a place you could put your concealed firearm. There's a hook and loop field in here, and this thing doesn't open up very much. On the top, it only opens up, you know, this far, and there's like this much extra here, and on the other corner, there's like that much that it doesn't open up. It doesn't open up on the bottom, and this whole side here doesn't open up. So basically, you're left with this kind of like this portion here to get in and out. It does have a hook and loop here, and also on the other side, you can put a holster. But I think that it's really mainly, you know, made for a water bladder. I think up to 3 liters. I have heard some people with very small laptops or tablets put this back there. That's up to you if you want to do that. And so that's the bag. And it's very cool, you know, for a bag that's a few years old like this, it's doing just fine. And I suspect it's going to get many more years of use. And I really enjoy having a bag that is on standby, that I can kind of customize to my needs, to the situation. So do you have bags like this that are kind of like ready to go at a moment's notice, and all you got to do is just add a few things, and you know that it's nice to have that. And so just in recap, what I have to do here to really make this at least on a very minimal level acceptable for use right now is to just add water, to my water bottle, and maybe even add another water bottle, or maybe like a water bottle that's already pre-filled, and put some food in here, and maybe like a little tarp, and basically that's pretty much it, with the exception of my my maps and my compass that I would obviously put in there depending on where I'm going. So yeah, it's kind of the simple rundown here of my Maxpedition Falcon 2 and how I'm using it now here in the summer of 2018. Thanks for your support. I really do appreciate everyone that watches my channels and that uses the hyperlinks in the description box. This channel would have probably faded away a long time ago if it wasn't for your support. YouTube has really kind of come down on my channel and demonetized a bunch of my videos even recently. So I'm kind of in this position that it's difficult sometimes to continue to make videos because it feels like that YouTube is really against me, and I'm not sure exactly why they are so against me, but they are. I've been having a lot of problems with community guidelines. They say that I'm not doing appropriate videos. I'm not really even sure what's wrong with my videos. They just don't tell me what's wrong. They just say that it violates community policies, even though they don't tell me what policy it violates. So anyways, that's the game that we play here on YouTube, I guess. They kind of just dictate, whatever they want to. And anyways, I just want to thank everyone again. You guys take care, and I'll catch you soon.